If you want to sing along on page 665. When Israel was in Egypt land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell Lord Pharaoh, let my people go. Thus saith the Lord, but Moses said, let my people go. If not, I'll smite your firstborn dead. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell Lord Pharaoh, let my people go. The Lord told Moses what to do. Let my people go to lead the Hebrew children through. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell Lord Pharaoh, let my people go. As Israel stood at the water's side, let my people go. At God's command it did divide, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell Lord Pharaoh, let my people go.
All right, now that Pharaoh is far away, we can start our Shabbat and Passover service. Let's take a nice deep breath of Shabbat and Passover air. Let's breathe in the air of this beautiful day. How often do we get such a beautiful day in April here in Western New York? About 55 degrees or so.
Really?
And it felt like, was it?
Oh, it was cold.
Oh, come on, you've been here 6
When
years.
I went for a walk earlier today, it was like 36, and then when I was back out, it was 42, and it's going down to 26 tonight.
I always joked that I would really become a Buffalonian when it turned 40 and I wore shorts outside. And my neighbor, he always dresses in shorts. I always joke with him about it. As soon as it turns 40, he's in his shorts, yeah. So we have a wonderful service tonight. We're going to have a little bit of Passover and a little bit of Shabbat. And it's wonderful to come together to celebrate both the Chag and also the Shabbat. So let me invite Bruce over to officially welcome you. Oh, sorry, to officially not welcome you.
Can't do that. He's the one who said I can't say welcome, and he keeps
boy.
saying it. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome home. That's what we're going to do every Friday night. Welcome home. This is our home, and we are a family, and it's good to all be together. Happy Passover, the holiday that reminds us to remember the roughage all week. I hope everyone had a good Seder, whether it was first night, second night, or both. As they say, I hope the matzah balls were fluffy and the brisket was tender and everything else was perfect. We have, it's nice to have, usually on a holiday, on a night like this, we don't get a lot of people. And it's nice to see as many as we do have because it's just nice for us to all be together. I'll be back a little bit later with the announcements. We have a lot of stuff coming up in the next couple weeks. We made it through Passover and there's more stuff happening. Always something happening. So Shabbat Shalom. Happy Passover, and again, welcome home.
So speaking about welcome home, we have a family here, Ronnie and John. Would you like to light our candles? Because you just came back from Israel. They were telling me about their wonderful trip, And John did a half a marathon in Jerusalem, which is quite hilly place. And so I very much admire him to be able to do that with his son as well. Candle lighting is on page 120. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat v'yom tov. And if you want to lift our cup over there, we're going to turn to page 123. Actually, we'll look at should we look at the Passover, the holiday, festival evening? Okay, so let's see. We'll get the proper Kiddush here.
Oh, we're going to do festival one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Page, I'm almost there.
Got to get into festival evening.
Shabbat v'yom tov. Oh, here we go. It is page 386.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'am v'romemanu mikol hashar v'kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'titan lanu Adonai Eloheinu b'ahava Shabbatot limnucha ומועדים לשמחה, חגים וזמנים לששון. את יום השבת הזה, ואת יום חג המצות הזה, זמן חירותנו. מקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי באנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת ומועדי קודשך, באהבה וברצון, בשמחה ובששון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת, וישראל והזמנים.
L'chaim. So when we say next year in Jerusalem, you already went this year. I was talking to the folks at the Amberley, and Gert, who had one of the residents there, had just been to Jerusalem last Passover. And she said she was in the supermarket getting ready for Passover, and there was these yeshiva bachers, young 6 or 7 year olds, and one by one they started singing the Ma'anishtada. And then she said a dance broke out in the middle of the supermarket. And one of the tellers who was helping to orchestrate it, he had to hush everyone when his manager came over. It was one of these kind of only in Israel moments. So why don't we officially welcome, we did Let My People Go. Let's do Hine Ma Tov U'Manayim on page 128.
Hine ma tov, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Let's turn to 132, and we'll read from the Psalms of Kabbalat Shabbat, the Psalms that we do to prepare for Shabbat. Let's read at the top there. Sing to Adonai a new song. Sing to Adonai all the earth. Sing to Adonai, bless God's name. Proclaim God's victory day after day. Tell of God's glory among the nations, God's wondrous deeds among all the peoples. For Adonai is great and much acclaimed. God is held in awe by all divine beings. All the gods of the people are meal idols. But Adonai made the heavens. Glory and majesty are before God. Strength and splendor in God's temple. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth exult. Let the sea and all within it thunder. The field and everything in them exult. Then shall all the trees of the forest shout for joy at the presence of Adonai, for God is coming to rule the earth. God will rule the world justly and its people in faithfulness. That first line, sing to Adonai a new song. I love that sense, even though this is a very, very old psalm, at least 2,500 years, there's a sense we can always sing it in a new way. And I really love that. Page 138, Lecha Dodi, we'll sing the first and the last verse. And the last verse, we rise, we'll face the doorway, we'll bow to the Shabbat bride as she enters, and then we'll welcome each other with our waves.
Lecha Dodi likra kala pende Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likra kala pende Shabbat nekabela. Shamu v'zachor b'diborecha yishriyaru el hamyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad shemo tiferet v'yivila lecha dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Holy v'shalom hateret bala gam v'simcha u'v'tzola toch emunei am sekula. Boi kala lecha dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. One more time. Lecha dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
I love that flourish at the end. That was great, Nick. It was wonderful. We remain standing. We're going to turn to the Baruch Hu on page 146. I was going to let you know that when I went to North Presbyterian a couple weeks ago, they do the passing of the peace, which was also shaking hands, and they still haven't gone back to handshaking. So our call of community, page 146.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach.
Baruch Adonai
hamevorach le'olam va'ed.
Let's read together at the top of 147. There is one who sings the song of his own life, finding everything within himself. There is one who leaves the circle of herself and sings the song of her people. There is one whose voice rings with the song of humanity, hoping for the highest perfection. And there is one who rises even higher, uniting with all creatures, with all worlds, filling the universe with song. Nivarech, let us bless. We'll turn to the Shema, page 152, 153.
Shabbat
You may be seated, page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננת לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לעוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם המזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו מה עשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם בארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
And let's read together in the English on 155. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work. Whether you are tired or you are rested, let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God. Let's turn to the Micha Mocha, page 158, and you may be familiar with the melody that Cantor is going to be using.
מי כמוך ואלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה מלכותך רב ובנך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי ענו ואמרו אדוני אלוהים לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדנו את יעקב ולא מעט חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
I just noticed that in the prayer, there's an additional word. We added in Miriam in this Siddur here in the prayer book. And if you look at that second paragraph, second line there, Miriam actually fits perfectly because it says Bokea Yam, Lifnei Moshe or Miriam. So you have, Miriam, which is about water, Yam, water, but it actually creates a rhyming pattern, which is wonderful.
And Yam is part of Miriam's name.
Exactly.
She's got the water right in her name.
It's like it was meant to be there originally in the prayer. On page 159, we have a prayer for peace. And I want us, before we read this, to turn our attention, especially to the Holy Land. This is the year that's very unusual. It won't happen again, maybe next year, but it won't happen again for quite a while after that, when Passover, Ramadan, and Easter line up. You might think this is a very happy occasion, and it is here in Western New York. But in Israel, especially in Jerusalem, this is a very scary proposition because it means three different groups converging in the city in the same, often into Jerusalem. We've already seen some hostility early on, and this is already quite an intense period. So if you could just think this week that the intention of these holidays were peaceful holidays, and hopefully that will be true across the board. And by the end of the weekend, as we go, when all the holidays officially converge on Sunday, may it be a real time of peace. So let's read 159 together and send our wishes of peace to Israel. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracle, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravaged by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. That sounds very nice. I invite you to rise as we turn to the Amidah, the standing prayer, page 164. We're going to continue quietly from 164 to page 180. And actually the holiday one, I'll give you those pages if you wanted to follow for that as well. That's on page 468, 468. We'll turn to page 180 for Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom Bivroma, Uyaseh Shalom Aleichem.
turn to our prayer for healing, page 371. I'm going to read our list from our office, and if you have other names afterwards, just raise your hands. We'll turn our attention to Margie Abelson, Richard Zyback, Jim Bukowski, Paula Charvella, Dennis Epstein, Murray Edinger, Carol Fisher, Sue Frank, Ellen Franke, Ida Frost, Maureen Furlong, Freda Goodstein, Esther Green, Karen and Gary Greenfield, Carolyn and Ernest Grosser, Heather Houston, Charlotte Krebs, Ruth Lansing, Miles Levy, Savannah Lucas, Rick Mahler, Megan McEvoy, Jill Shire Monahan, Robert Poses, Aidan Raccoon, Karen Rosenfield, Cheryl Rossi, Brandon Ryan, Andrew Shaw, Gertrude Sloan, Alan Strauss, Jill Tabarasi, Robin Weinstein, Mike Wheeler, Yocheved Bat Esther, Miriam Bat Razel, Avram ben Rivka, Chana Ezra ben Shul, and Reuven ben Morris. And we'll go around if you have other names. We'll bring all those names into our hearts. Again, page 371.
Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishemerav imotenu bekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
May all of our prayers go out to those needed, including those in our room, and may those that we pray for find strength from our prayers. And we say Amen. All right, I have a question for you. How many of you were at a Seder this week? Anyone at a Seder? How many of you had an Elijah cup at your Seder? And this is the question. How many of you had less wine in the Elijah cup when the Seder was finished? Did Elijah visit this year? No? Has he ever visited? When we used to play a game, we'd drink a little bit of the wine. we like to do practical jokes when I was growing up, so we'd try to do things like this. But every year we put out Elijah's cup, if we remember, and we fill it up, and every year it remains like that throughout the Seder. So what is this custom? What are we trying to do? And I want to share a little bit about Elijah. There's a wonderful new book that Joanne, thankfully, she got for our synagogue library. It is called Becoming Elijah, and it's by Daniel C. Matt. You might know Daniel Matt. He writes about Kabbalah mysticism. And this is a very unusual book because this is the Yale series on biographies. So basically, it's all people's biographies, and apparently all of the others in the series, they have the dates when the person's born and the date that they died. So you could imagine that Daniel Matt went to argue over at Yale and had to say, I want to do my biography on Elijah. And they turned him down, but he went back. And he's a very respected academic leader. And so he went back and he said, no, I really want to do this, and this is why. and hence we have a book on Elijah. And he called it Becoming Elijah. What does he mean by that? He means that Elijah actually, that is in the Tanakh, in our biblical chronicles, is very different than the Elijah that comes to our Seder. That Elijah actually, over the course of time, changes. In the Torah, well, in the Tanakh, we're reading about Elijah, which is one of the reasons I asked Joanne to order it, because our Torah study book, it's group, if anyone wants to join us, 9 o'clock in the morning, Saturdays on Zoom. We are in the book of Kings, and we got to the point last week, the beginning of the Elijah story. And coincidentally, it was Passover, and coincidentally, the book came out. So I thought I'd share some of the insights. This literally just showed up on my desk today, I think, or yesterday. So I haven't had a chance to read it, but I did listen to an interview on Judaism Unbound, where Daniel Matt explained a lot of what was in the book and what he was trying to prove. So it is really, really interesting. So when you think about Elijah in the Tanakh, in the book of Kings and also in Chronicles, he's a very different character. First of all, where is Elijah from? Those of you that know the song, you might know. Eliyahu what do we say? Hanavi, that's the prophet. Tishbi, right? Tishbe, he's a Tishbite, which we learned in our Bible study that Tishbi actually means stranger. So one of the ways that, because there is no actual place Tishbi, it could be in Gilead, but we actually have no record of this place. The whole idea is that Elijah comes in as a stranger into the community, and what is the first thing he does? He says, there is not going to be any rain unless I say there's going to be rain. And you can imagine that this is not what the powers that be, in this case, this was King Ahab and his wife Jezebel, are very happy with. No one is really happy with, because without rain, you don't have food. Without rain, you can't drink, you can't eat, you can't survive. And the book is about Elijah's power struggle with those powers against what's going on. And his name, Eliyahu, as Daniel Matt points out, it really means my God, Eli, my God, is Yud-He-Vav-He. My God is Yud-He-Vav-He. And so during the course of his life, he is always confronting. Mostly he's confronting Ahab and Jezebel, who are Baal worshipers. So they're in the northern kingdom. Israel is divided between north and south. And they're going outside. They're going away from Yud-He-Vav-He, from our God, and worshiping Baal. And so Elijah is coming to set them straight. And along the way, he's performing miracles. He finds a widow, he provides her with drink and with food. He also revives the dead. Her son dies, and he brings her back to life. He is chased by Ahab, and he has to live in caves for a little while, and he contemplates. He actually is the only other character in the biblical tradition to go to Mount Horeb, or Mount Sinai. That's another name for Mount Sinai. He actually goes back there and receives the law, just like Moses does. And he confronts, there's a wonderful battle. This is sort of like sports in the biblical time. They have a fire pan battle. You might remember this. We have this in the Torah between Korach and the rebellion of Korach and Moses. But Elijah, that one of them has 200 pans, the other one has 250 pans, and they battle, and of course, Elisha wins out. The reason why he's at our Seder, the other thing he does is there's a terrible incident where this fellow named Naboth has a vineyard, and Jezebel wants this vineyard, and she arranges to have him killed. And one of the main things that Elijah does is he stands up. It happens, but he makes sure that they're punished for the actions that they take. And that's how he stands for justice. But the reason why Elijah comes to us is that in the Torah, something very unusual happens around his death. There's his protege Elisha is watching, and he dies, or he doesn't die. He is carried off in a fiery chariot and leaves the earth. So it doesn't actually describe his death. So he mysteriously can appear at any times. The tradition that we have in the Passover Seder is actually, according to Daniel Matt, a relatively new tradition. New in the sense it wasn't until maybe even the 16th or 17th centuries that it really started appearing. And he found a number of rabbis writing about this. What is this tradition of having a cup at our Seder plate? And because no one really knew, and people would write, "What is this?" And they would answer these tshuvot, these questions and answers that would, and there were several different answers that he talked about in the interview. One is that you need to conserve wine. So at the end of each of the cups, when you had wine left, you would pour it there. You didn't want to waste your wine, so all the members of the table would pour that, and that way they could save the wine that they have. So that's one reason. Another reason is if Elijah was going to come, they said, we should make sure to have a cup for him, because if we don't have a cup, we might delay our Seder. So we make sure to have that, and also for any other guests, that we make sure that we always have that cup there. Lastly, Elijah is in charge of deciding halakha, the legal arguments in our tradition. And there is a huge argument in the Passover table, whether you know it or not, between whether there's supposed to be 4 cups of wine or 5 cups. So one of the rabbis suggests that we'll put this cup out there as our 5th cup, and if Elijah drinks from it, then we know there's 5 cups. If he doesn't drink from it, it's okay, we're 4 cups, but we're covered either way that way. So I love these little anecdotes that he brought up. He says, and that's what he said about it becoming Elijah, in the Tanakh, he's fierce and angry and determined to change the powers that be. Elijah that we know is gentle and kind and is quiet. There's a wonderful story, a Hasidic story, where someone asked the Rebbe, I fill my cup every year and Elijah doesn't come. So he says, well, go down to the homeless shelter and see if you find Elijah there. And he comes back, and he doesn't find Elijah, but the Rebbe holds up a mirror to himself. Here is Elijah, that we become Elijah in the process. And that's one of the ideas. All right, so to conclude, I want to share the 3 moments, because Elijah doesn't just visit at the Passover Seder. There's 2 other moments. I'm going to look at one person in the room, because she definitely knows where one of those other moments are. But so you're not allowed to say, I'll just give a hint, because Ronnie here is an expert at one of them. So do you know the other 2 moments where Elijah appears? And Cantor definitely knows the other one, because that's the other moment we sing Eliyahu Hanavi. Anyone want to guess? One occurs every week. Do you want to give it away, Cantor?
Sure, at Havdalah.
At Havdalah, right? And for Ronnie, when is the other one?
At every bris.
Mm-hmm. At every bris. Actually, I got the pleasure of being with Ronnie at a bris, and she explained about Elijah. We have Elijah's seat there as well, and Elijah is supposed to come. These are the liminal moments: Passover, the bris, the Shabbat. This is the moments where we could get scared, and Elijah is there to comfort us. So as we go to our Seders next year and we fill our cups, now you will have more understanding about where this tradition comes from, and you can have fun with it. It's okay to take a little sip, hide it. The kids will really like that. All right, Chag Sameach and Shabbat Shalom. We are ready. Actually, why don't we turn? I need someone's leaflet because I had an old one. I wanted to read, we had a beautiful poem that Gunilla Kester. Is it in your leaflets? I know that Nancy had prepared them, so I need to borrow some. Okay. Gunilla often sends me poems. This is such a beautiful poem. So let's read this one together. The burning bush is a blackberry bush, and it's by Sarah Mathis. Together. I wrote the poem, and then I rewrote it, and made it worse. I thought time would heal it. Time passed. I did research, Exodus, Midrash, my mother. I rewrote the poem. I ate fistfuls of soft berries, navy lips, purple lips, juice bursting out of black balloons. I made it worse. The poem knocked around my mind like unlabeled preserves darkening the fridge. Outside the page, tableaus of simple beauty. 3 different trees in one line of sight, plum, pear, palm. Inside, a hand runs under a faucet, the soap stinging invisible cuts to life. Have you seen a blackberry bush at the exact moment of its blushing, when its tight little spheres bleed the green, seedy blood? Have you walked by shoeless on the way to the lake, the sun lifting the hairs on your cheek? No matter where you turn, something you love coming after you, the bush burning in the stripped light, unripe, alive, surviving. Oh, it's such a beautiful poem. I love that one. I invite you to rise for Aleinu, page 586.
עלינו לשבח לתת הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא עשנו כשפחות האדמה, שלא עשו חלקנו כהן, וגורבנו ככל המונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ובוטים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 591.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ היום ההוא היום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We turn to our Mourner's Kaddish, page 598. The list is also included in the leaflet. We are remembering Erin Munter, the mother-in-law of Jessica Munter, who died this past week. On our Shloshim list from this past month, we remember Glorine Curtis, Mikhail Levin, Jean Peck, and Cameron Stokes. On our yahrzeit list from years past, remember Donna Alba, Sally Anderson, Bessie Berman, Morris Bach, Richard Bach, Izzy Barasco, Edith Crandall, Carlton DeBozen, Isidore Falkowitz, Rolane Feugelman, Cicely Fox, Faye B. Freudenheim, Gary Friedferdig, Ralph Gefsky, Sarah Gelman, Lester Glickman, Aaron Goldberg, Jenny Gorbate, William Heitner, Richard Sanford, Horowitz, Dr. Joseph House, Madge Johnson, Dorothy German Nirko, Morton Korn, Samuel Kotlov, Fanny Kranitz, Louis Kranitz, Ralph Kushner, Bessie Lane, Fega and Boris Lipsitz, Samuel Mackler, Frank Moscow, Mark Muggelberg, Victor Prasinek, Karen Rank, Daryl Evan Shepard, David Schreiber, Samuel Sherman, Carl Schubert, Rosalind Stinger, Rose Stolberg, Betty D. Tufts, Benjamin Ungerleider, Carol Wall, and Dora Wolpin. If there's other names, just raise your hand. All those whose custom it is to rise, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach urte v'yamlik malchute, v'chayachon v'yamachon v'chayed echol beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kariv v'yamru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olmei maya. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, shemeda kudasha, brechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, damiran v'alma v'yimuru, amen. Yehi shlam rabba min shemaya, v'chaim alinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. Oseh shalom v'yimramav, huya seh shalom, alinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yal kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru. May God grant peace to us, to all those who are in mourning or grieving, and to our world. And we say amen. You may be seated. Zikronam livracha. May their memories be for a blessing. And I will bring up Bruce Corris again to give our announcements.
Shabbat Shalom again.
Shabbat Shalom.
Hag Passover Sameach again. We have, do you do 7 or 8 nights?
7.
You do 7. I like him. Do you do pizza at the end?
Well, I'm gluten-free.
Oh, that's right.
We have Passover pizza all year round.
Oh, okay. Good enough. Anyway, thank you to our tag team service greeters tonight, Sheila and Cindy, double teaming it out there. We appreciate that. Thank you to Rabbi Alex, Cantor Frank, and Nick Stelzer for a lovely Passover service in honor of Shabbat. Tomorrow morning, Torah study, as the rabbi mentioned, is at 9 a.m. That's via Zoom. The Shabbat morning service will be at 10:45 at Temple Beth Tzedek. There is no religious school this Sunday. They are wrapping up spring break. Our religious school students have been down in Cancun, I believe. No, I'm just kidding. They went to Disney. The Shabbat, so that will resume, religious school will resume a week from Sunday on April 16th. Thank you to everyone who joined us last night for our community second night Seder. That was with Temple Beth Zion at Transit Valley Country Club. 175?
Yeah, around 170.
About 175 people last night, which is great. First time we were able to do this, to be together in 4 years, and it looks like everyone appreciated that and enjoyed themselves very much. So thank you for taking part in that. Rabbi Alex wanted us to serve shevetas. I said, no, that's not a good idea. But we do have shevetas coming up. That is a week from Tuesday, April 18th. So be sure to do your pre-order things so you're guaranteed of getting a meal and saving $1. Look forward to seeing you in the parking lot as you drive past me. And by the way, special thank you to our Shevetas volunteers. We have quite a group that are basically helping out every single time, French Fry Frank being one. And it's such an important fundraiser for us. So we thank you for your supporting it as a diner and as a volunteer as well. Thank you for that. This month, during the month of April, our Tikkun Olam Committee is collecting food and personal item donations for the Amherst Little Free Pantry. That is a project of the Unitarian Universalist Church and Havurah. Please bring a donation every time you come to Temple. Help us to fill the bin to the rim. There are collection baskets and bins in the lobby here near the coat room and in the community religious school. Rabbi read a poem by Ganilla. The Buffalo Corner reading series is going to return on Thursday, April 20th. That's a week from Thursday. This month is Open Community Poetry Reading in honor of National Poetry Month. That event will be in person and via Zoom, Boxcast, Facebook, and YouTube. Also this month, we have Earth Day. That is coming on April 22nd. And that we have a community Earth Day gathering celebration from 2 to 5 p.m. It's down at Temple Beth Zion, the Delaware building. The theme is healing, resilience, and renewal. There's more information on the website. You have a group singing and the band, correct? So Cantor will be down there leading a group of Shir Shalom singers and musicians taking part in that. That again is Saturday, April 20th from 2 to 5 down at the Delaware Avenue Temple Beth Zion building. Lots of more upcoming events. Yes? 22nd. That's what I said. Saturday, April 22nd. Didn't I say that? What? I said the 20th? I know Earth Day is April 22nd. I remember the first Earth Day. Anyone remember the first Earth Day? I was in junior high school. We all walked home from school.
1973. What year
70. It was wasn't it 1970?
1970?
I think so.
Yeah.
We all walked home from school. The buses still drove the route. I don't know whether we didn't save anything, but it was a thing. We all walked home that day. Our parents were ready to kill us. Anyhow, we have upcoming events in the service leaflet. Be sure to take it home with you if you need us for anything. Jill, game night? Oh, I'm going to give her a little smack on the wrist. She forgot that. Shame. Game night, no bunco, but we have bingo. No bingo either. But we have card games, rummy cube maybe? Whatever people bring. That's next Saturday. Saturday the 15th. I'm sorry? You need more okay, we need more RSVPs. Oh, the Women of Shir Shalom Shabbat, that is May what? May 12th. That's always a lovely service. Rabbi doesn't do anything. It's really nice. No, so...
I agree. That is a nice service.
Women of Shir Shalom Shabbat, May 12th. Talk to Jill about that, please. And game night is next Saturday night, the 15th. Talk to Jill about that as well. And the email that went out, who's the RSVP to email to? To Jill as well. It's in the email. So that's game night, always a lot of fun.
When you're talking about Earth Day, just to add in, the Friday night before, which is Friday night, April 21st, we're going to be celebrating Earth Day here, and all the music that we've prepared to do at Beth Zion, we're going to do here
great.
On the Friday night. So,
excellent.
Yeah, it'll be nice. So it'll also be Blue Jean Shabbat. So just come like in t-shirts and jeans and stuff.
Great.
I feel like 1970.
Very much, yeah. Just wash your jeans in cold water. That's all. Anyway.
We need a flyer for that, Joanne.
Please join us following the service in the lobby for the Oneg Shabbat, which is sponsored by Sheila Bernard Tucker in memory of her grandmother, Bessie Berman. If you would, did you bake? Sheila was baking all week. We have
a lot of gluten-free Passover.
A gluten-free Pesadiki Shabbat, Oneg Shabbat, which actually has a lot of good-looking stuff in there. I happen to walk past it, so also very good. If you would like to sponsor an Oneg for any occasion, a special occasion or no occasion whatsoever, please contact Joanne. We're happy to do that. Shabbat Shalom and happy Passover.
So just today in the mail came our photo book for the Beach Boys Megillah Purim 2023. And in it has, a lot of the portraits and the cast and everything. So it's being unveiled today, right after services. You want to go take a look at it. Maybe you can find a picture of yourself in there. If not, maybe you should join us next year for Purim, and you'll get in this book, and you will have a hoot. So.
And Cantor put that together. So beautiful. She did a beautiful job.
Some of the pictures I took, and some of the pictures of the actual show is Jessica Cunningham, who took pictures, live.
So we're going to turn to 625. Mi Chamocha, we had a Guess the Tune. Now we're going to have another Guess the Tune.
I'm going to tell them in advance.
Okay.
I'm going to tell them. The other one was Adir Hu, which is, as I was saying last night, is the leitmotif for Passover, but a very close contender for probably the most not so much famous but popular song for Passover is Dayenu, and we will sing Adon Olam to Dayenu. So let's go to page 625, and hopefully Nick won't play it too fast. We'll be able to keep up. So here we go. אשר מלך בטרם כה יציר נברא, יהיה נשא בחפצו כה, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כה יציר נברא, יהיה נשא בחפצו כה, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה. אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כה יציר נברא, ויתנשא בחפצו כה, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. והוא אחד ואין שני, וחמשי לו להכבירה, בלי ראשית בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה. Don't join with me, love, אשר מלך בטרם כה יציר נברא, להתנשא בחפצו כה, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. והוא אלי וחי גואלי וצורכב ליבי יצרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מן הכוסי ביום אקרא. אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כה יציר נברא, להתנשא בחפצו כה, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. בידו אבקית רוחי ויתשן יאירה, עם רוחי גבייתי אדוני לי ולא יירא. אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כה יציר נברא, להתנשא בחפצו כה, אזי מלך. One more time. די דיינו, די דיינו, די דיינו, 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 די דיינו, די דיינו, די דיינו, דיינו, דיינו.
Now you know it's Passover because we've got a very flat plate here. Here we go. Oh, it's not the gluten-free kind there. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. As you came in peace, may you leave in peace. Shabbat shalom. Chag sameach. Please take the Sidurim, the prayer books, and return them to the front minus the leaflet.